The future is bright indeed. We're all of us dreaming of the better days ahead, and a part of your bright new future could be a move to where the magic lives in the greater Orlando area of Florida. One of the biggest decisions you'll make when considering a move is selecting a realtor who can successfully match you with the right home in the right location at the right price. Victor Naraki is the realtor who can help you make the move you've always wanted to. Whether you're a first-time homeowner or looking to move near Disney World, Victor is in your corner. If you are looking for an experienced real estate agent covering all of Central Florida, please visit DisneyAtYourDoorstep.com today and find out just why you should work with Victor. I encourage you to create a free, no-obligation account on his website. By doing so, you'll unlock the website's full potential and be able to enter specific criteria, save listings, and browse new properties sent to your email. Visit DisneyAtYourDoorstep.com today or visit his Facebook page, Victor Naraki Realtor. And don't forget to tell him the Grand Circle Tour podcast sent you.
There's something out there. Something very wrong. But the more I look, the more I can't seem to see.
From Big Finish Productions, Doctor Who: The Early Adventures, The Home Guard.
This is Leading Seaman Jackson. Arrived as we were setting off.
Have we met before?
I don't think I've had the pleasure, sir.
Well, it's not only the Doctor. But with the war and everything else, well, it's not that easy to pin down to anything particular. But nothing round here feels right. Harry! Down to the shelter quick!
Sorry, you think the Doctor's a spy?
He is working with the enemy! Doctor, what are you going to do?
I'm sure something will occur to me.
Doctor, no! Those things are killing our people!
We can't possibly win.
He likes to be known as the Master.
You two know each other?
Oh, of old.
Big Finish. We love stories.
Aloha, passengers. Wasn't that great? So what you just heard. So we decided what we were going to start doing was like pairing a fine wine with a good meal. We're going to start pairing a Big Finish with the season we're talking about. And unfortunately, we didn't think of the idea until today. So what you just heard was the trailer for Big Finish's Doctor Who: The Home Guard. I own it. I've listened to this several times. Justin's really intrigued by it. I can't wait to hear what you have to say about it. But it is Second Doctor, Ben and Polly and Jamie, and a character you haven't heard of yet called the Master.
But which Master is yet to be determined.
Yet to be determined. But yeah, this is a great atmospheric piece. This is a great character piece. I chose this one because we are here at the end of Pat's run and went, well, it was a really good one to define Pat's era. One I just listened to recently, The Home Guard. I will put the link in the show notes to Big Finish's website where you can get this on CD or download. Justin, what are your thoughts? You only heard the trailer.
I have to say, I'm not sure how much we've talked about Big Finish on here so far. I know we've mentioned it.
We sprinkled it on like
some fantastic audio dramas. I absolutely love listening to these things. Pretty much all of them. I've not heard one that I don't like, and I have listened to a lot of them. So I'm very intrigued by this. Fraser Hines, who plays Jamie in Doctor Who in this season, in season 6, he returns. He's voicing both Jamie and the Second Doctor in the Home Guard here. He's been doing very well with that, as I understand it.
Well, you can't tell the difference, really. You really cannot tell the difference between Pat and Fraser. He does his friend so well.
And it's always fun to hear a voice actor acting against themselves.
Yeah. Well, and that's one thing I love about Big Finish, because this is an early plug, because we're gonna start dropping it in every week from this point forward. You get actors who were on the show 60 years ago playing the parts. You get all new stories set in between seasons. I just listened to a story the other day, and it was the 10th Doctor and Ace from the 7th Doctor's run and K9 from the 4th Doctor's run, played by the original actors, in a story that when I went out for a jog, it just made that jog go by so fast.
Most recently, I've been listening to one with Colin Baker as the 6th Doctor and Perry.
You know, we haven't gotten there yet, but I hate to admit this. When I started watching Classic Who, Nicola Bryant fooled me. I had no idea she wasn't an American. I really thought she was Yank.
Yeah, she, yeah.
I'm listening to, I just downloaded it this week because I like to pre-order mine to get them on sale. I love the BBC Avengers. When you say Avengers to me, I think John Steed and his companions. And it's Steed and Tara King Volume 2. It's based off the comic strips, and it is. If you've watched the show,
it's based off of comic strips. Yeah, that's going to be a wild ride, no matter what.
It's completely wild, and if you have the visual of the show in your head, it is as wacky and wild in the theater of the mind as you can make it.
You know, all I can say about the that version of the Avengers is to watch the TV show, not the movie.
You know, I will say this: the movie.
Okay, we're getting way off topic. We're supposed to be talking about Doctor Who.
I know.
Season 6.
I know. I'm going to just say one thing in that movie's defense, really quick. It is such a good-looking, well-designed movie. You can watch it with the sound off and just appreciate the visuals. Done. Rant over.
Okay, fair enough. Doctor Who Season 6.
Wow, we're here.
Troughton's last season. Now, one of the things that I noticed as I was looking through this, I was surprised at how complete it is. After we've talked the last couple of seasons about, we had season 4, which is now kind of the animated season because so many episodes are missing, but they've been animated. And last season, so many episodes are missing and they're just missing.
Right.
This season, we have the bulk of them are available, and that makes this one a lot easier for people to jump into. I think if you really want to just start with a season of Patrick Troughton, this is an easy one to get into.
I'm thinking this will be the first Patrick Troughton to come to Blu-ray, because you said there's only 7 episodes missing out of 44, and for the longest time, up until about 10-15 years ago, this was the only season we could really see of his. So I think this is the one that's most burned into people's minds.
And there's some, and we'll get to it, but there's in particular a very classic and iconic episode which we will definitely get to. Where we start,
does it have Cybermen?
Oh well, I don't know. Are there any Cybermen this season?
It's the second Doctor. There's Cybermen every time you turn around.
So we start off with the Dominators.
And just to really quick, before we go any forward, one thing that I really appreciate about this season is, we don't have time to go into it here, but it was insane behind the scenes. There was so much change and so much chaos. I mean, it was a complete mess. This needs to be its own serial.
We could have our own.
But the fact that we got such a great season with so much going on just says so much about, how great this show is.
Now we have kind of like one of the iconic teams as well. So we have the second Doctor. Oh, yeah. He's working with Jamie, and we have Zoe. And one of the things I like about this pairing is that now we have one companion who's from the past, Jamie's like a Highlander from, what was it, 18th century, 17th century?
17, no.
Well, 18th century then. And then Zoe is from the future. She joined from the Wheel in Space last season.
Right.
And so we have kind of a little different mix here. Whereas, with Victoria, we had another person from the past. Here we've got one from the past, one from the future. And I like that sort of dynamic that they bring to this.
I have to say, this is in my top 10 TARDIS teams. What is so great about Jamie and Zoe is these characters have so much agency. They are allowed to run around and come up with things and solve problems and really, really be not assistants, but his companions, his friends, and he gets the hero moments, but they get all the behind the scenes stuff getting to it. And the way they play off each other. I liked Victoria, but Jamie was protecting her the whole time. Zoe comes in and she's like, "Hey, dum-dum," but still treats him like a brother.
And I think this season really lets Jamie shine quite a bit. He does get a lot, as you say, a lot more autonomy, but also he gets more understanding of what he's involved in, and so he starts coming up with ideas that are good, and he really does, as you say, kind of settle in as being more of a companion, more of almost not quite an equal, but definitely working well with the Doctor and helping with whatever it is that needs to be done.
And the friendships, they come across on screen so well, and you really love this team. It is going to make the end of the season Donna Noble hard.
Yeah. I was going to mention Donna Noble when we get there, but so we start off with the Dominators. So the team lands on a peaceful planet that I believe, if I recall correctly, the Doctor has been to before, and he's like, "Well, this place is nice," and except now we have another alien threat that he has to deal with.
Yeah. Here's my main thoughts on the story. It's not a great story. It's not a great way to start the season. What I do love about the story is it is as classic 60s sci-fi as it can get. All the look,
quarks.
all the tropes. Oh my god.
The quarks, they're like these supposed to be robots. They look like 60s wind-up toys.
I love the quarks. I have one on a shelf.
And I was a little confused by the bad guys. It's like, wait, you want to take the radiation? Okay.
Yeah, go for it.
You're going to blow up the planet to do it. Okay, that's bad.
Oh yeah, This is not one of those where you tear down the house and take the copper out.
Yeah, couldn't you just take the radiation and go? No, you got to break open the planet. Okay, that's bad. But
are you for Brexit
And good on you for being able to pronounce that. I like that.
I can still say it. And also with the story too is Doctor Who does a certain kind of pacifism, but this is like lay down your sticks and get beaten pacifism. It's kind of like Britain is very safe in the world at this point. It's like they're commenting on what's going around them.
So the next one we get into here is the Mind Robber. And so after the events of the Dominators, the Doctor has to take the TARDIS someplace safe, and he takes it completely not just out of danger, but out of reality itself, into the land of fiction. And the thing I love about this is that we have, for the first time, a man who calls himself the Master.
Yes.
But it is not the Master that we come to know later on.
Yeah, if you're coming into this from New Who, don't make that confusion, because the whole time you're just going to be like, yes, 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 only to be disappointed.
Now, if I remember correctly, the Master as a character doesn't show up until the third Doctor, played by
we're not going to see
Ainley?
Roger Delgado.
Oh, Right, Delgado was first, and Ainley was
Second.
after. Okay.
No,
okay.
Ainley was third. Ainley was third. Well, technically fourth, but we have the McCrispy Master in between Delgado and Ainsley. It was played by two different.
Fair enough. It's wibbly wobbly, timey wimey. What can I say?
All I know is the more that comes out of my mouth, I'm like, is this what I've done with my life?
So the Mind Robber is kind of an interesting little kind of side trip.
This is for me. This is, I think, it's a 5-part story, but I think this is a great way to introduce people to Classic Who, especially children, because there's no real threat. It's character piece, and all of the fantasy that it's not fantasy you don't know.
Yeah, it is a lot of very familiar stuff. Yeah, the aliens, I think they want to mind control everyone on Earth or something like that, so of course the Doctor and his team have to stop them. But yeah, it's not like blow up the universe level kind of threat.
Okay, so here's my good, and here is my bad from the story. My good is, behind the scenes, Fraser Hines had to take vacation, so they had a very clever way of replacing Jamie for one story with another Jamie, and then bringing him back after his holiday all nice and damn, like, hey guys, how was work? The bad in this story, and maybe this is just because I'm an old man and get off my lawn. So the character of Zoe is a teenage girl, under 18, not legal, wearing that
is true, but she's also supposed to be like brilliant and very intelligent. But
she's underage, and she's wearing a very tight, form-fitting, glittery catsuit. And the first episode of the story, when the TARDIS breaks apart, she couldn't look more like a Playboy model clung to that TARDIS with her butt out. And it's like, I'm just like, hey, young lady, you cover that sexy pose.
You're not going out wearing that. Okay.
You're not getting sucked out into the void wearing that, young lady. It's just one of those where I notice and I go, yeah, I know the actress was an adult, but the character's a teenager. Does she have to pose like that? Wow, I sound old.
Yeah, that can happen when you get old. What can I say? So after the Mind Robber, we go to the Invasion, and I'm going to go out on a limb and guess that Jason likes this episode because it's another Cyberman episode.
I love this story because it's not just another Cyberman episode. It's a Cyberman unit and Second Doctor in black and white episode.
We get the return of Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart.
And he is now Le Brigadier.
He is now the Brigadier. He was, what was he, Corporal before?
Yes.
Yeah, so now he's the Brigadier. And I love that. I love that they got him back, and this is going to become a much more recurring role for him going into the next season. But I love seeing him, especially in these early days.
Yeah. Before Unit is a firmly established thing and has its own history, right here we're really getting the beginning of what's going to happen next season.
Yeah, they're definitely laying the groundwork for what they're planning for the next season. This is so we get Cybermen here. They're apparently kind of hiding in the sewers, and then they're going to take over. Then they're going to
that terrifies me more than any alligator or snake or Pennywise that could be in the sewer.
There could just be like this legion of Cybermen just waiting to convert everyone.
You know, that terrifies me more than anything right there. And anytime I see someone with two AirPods, I'm like, that's how you get Cybermen.
That's new school. But you're right. You're right.
That's how you get Cybermen. This episode has some of the most iconic visuals in the show's history. So iconic, they're going to get replicated in Peter Capaldi's first season, 20-something away.
Yeah, several decades away. So yeah, and this is another one. It's mostly there. I think 2 episodes are missing, if I remember.
2 were animated. They look great on animation. This is one of those. If you're gonna go out and buy a Patrick Troughton DVD, go get this one. As much as I love Tomb of the Cybermen, it's an earlier season. It's very grainy. This one has a lot of action. I give this one like a 9.5 out of 10. And it's a lot easier to watch, and it's got special features that you're gonna love.
Now, was this one of the earliest ones to be animated even?
Yeah, I'm
thinking that was like one of the first ones, if I remember correctly.
I remember going out and getting this one when it first came out, and then running out and getting it again when they released a second edition of this of this story on DVD.
I believe this about you.
You should see the shelf of Doctor Who DVDs and Blu-rays, and they're all in watching order.
Well, how else will
They're
they be?
in correct watching order. That includes with like Torchwood and Sarah Jane and other things all smushed in there.
Yeah, we might have to mention Sarah Jane and some of those things when we get there. But
oh God, what is this? What I've done with my life?
yes, it has.
World's gonna end anyway, so
yeah, there you go. So the Invasion is a really good story. It's followed up by the Crotons. And what do you think of the Crotons? It's short.
Thank God. One word comes to mind. Dull. However, we are going to see so much of the story recycled 17 years later in the Mysterious Planet. So I really don't want to talk about this story, so let's just hit the cliff notes and
that's fine.
It's the Tom Baker story.
That is perfectly acceptable. I've seen that as well. I mean, if you are a fan of, say, Douglas Adams, you know that a lot of Shada gets reused in Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency, for example. So it's not unprecedented to take a story that's like, maybe it didn't quite work out at the time, redo it a little different, a little better in the future. So that is fine. So next up we have the Seeds of Death. And again, we have a returning villain. The Ice Warriors are back.
So this episode is honestly, it's only a 6 out of 10, but because it has one of my top 5 monsters in it, I love this story. It's actually, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and again, we get the returning villain, we get the Ice Warriors coming back. They apparently are like, you know what make this planet better? If we made it habitable for us and uninhabitable for all you, what'd you call yourselves again? Humans? Yeah. So of course the Doctor has to stop them.
which there is a certain kind of irony about a British story about colonizers who must be stopped.
Well said, sir. Well said.
I just have to point that out.
So after this, then
it's not a great story, but I have this one on DVD. This one, if you just look up the special features, this one has fantastic special features at the end of the DVD.
Okay. Yeah, and it's another one. All 6 episodes are available, so you can watch all of them. There's no animation, there's no recreations, reconstructions. It's just all what was on screen. So that always helps these to it makes them easier to watch, I think. The animation is nice, but seeing everything as it was originally broadcast is even better. So
where I still hope and chant and pray and meditate and speak in tongue, whatever, that all those episodes are still out there and we will get them back before I'm dead.
So the next one here is the Space Pirates, and we have one of the 6 episodes available.
Oh, and the one that's surviving is the worst one. It's the most boring.
And so, given the title, The Space Pirates, you probably know what this is like. It's pirates in space.
But it is not as fun as Jack Sparrow or any of that crew. This is a very slow story. It's very much of its time.
And this is one I don't think I have watched at all, so I can't really comment on it.
Here's my recommendation for everybody. If you don't want to watch this one, get the Target novelization. Terrence Dicks wrote it, and it was written later in the run. And so, because to him, he said it was the worst story of all time. So he did his best to fix it. So if you don't want to sit through the animation or the telesnaps or the process of consuming this as it is on DVD, read the book, The Target novelization by Terrence Dicks. You can get it on Amazon, on your Kindle or your iPad for under $10. It's a great read. It's an easy read. But that way, when people ask you about it, you can be like, well, let me tell you about the subplots and the metaphors.
There you go. I think of every story within this season, if there's one you want to skip, this is an easy one to skip because most of it's missing and it's not that great.
It's funny just because there are some truly great stories in this season, and then there's also some very passable stories. Clunkers.
Let's just call them clunkers.
Of the episodes that should have been lost, there should have been some of these, not the great ones.
Well, speaking of great ones, we get to the final story of the season, and this one is it's called The War Games. It's 10 episodes long. All of them exist. This is the longest story.
5 hours, people. 5 hours.
All of the episodes exist for.
But this is also in the, what would you say, top 20 greatest all-time out of 60-year stories?
It's definitely one of the best of all, especially if you're talking about the classic Who stories. And I think this one stands out.
What's great about this story is there's so much going on. It's such a full story, and the way it paces and the way it ramps up, these 5 hours go by really quickly, and the story ramps up to a point where it's too much even for the Doctor. He's like, hold up, I gotta calm my people.
Well, and this is also where we finally start to get some of the Doctor's backstory as well. Right. This is when he first talks about why did he leave his home planet? Why is he in a TARDIS running around the galaxy? What is all of this going on? And we find this is the first mention of the Time Lords. What his race of people are called. This is where we get so much of that backstory. This is the first time we see those little cubes that will return like in New Who.
In the 11th Doctor, is that right? Yeah, the message cubes.
The message cubes. I think like the 11th Doctor in The Doctor's Wife.
That's when
where they return. So we go from the second all the way to the 11th Doctor. We have that kind of connection. And so there's so much to this story. There's so much. I mean, I would say this is one, if you're going to watch one episode of this or one story of this entire season, I would say pick this one, because this one really gives you so much of the backstory of the Doctor, and it's a good story. As you say, it's well paced. There's so much going on.
And Jamie and Zoe and the Doctor get so much to do. Here's my recommendation if you're going to watch the story for the first time. Sunday morning, you make a giant pot of coffee, get a box of your favorite donuts. I would start around 8 or 9 because you'll be done by 1 or 2. And then you can watch 2 hours of special features, and then you're ready for supper, and that is a great day.
There you go. Not a bad plan if I ever heard one.
What's funny about this story is because Terrence Dix, the great Terrence Dix, who we will get to at some point, he's a young man here, and he had literally, they were like, you have no time, you have 10 episodes, and you have to write out the entire cast at the end. Go. And he delivered.
Also, good luck.
Yeah, and he delivered what I would say is sci-fi TV masterpiece.
Absolutely, and they so the general story here is like we see what seems to be like the TARDIS lands on what they think is Earth, and people are fighting each other. It's like, okay, well, we're in whatever battle and whatever war or whatever, and over time we come to find out that these are soldiers that have been yanked out of their time and brought to this alien planet, and they're kind of brainwashed into fighting each other, brainwashed to a point that they can even see things that aren't there, or they don't see things that are there if they're not supposed to, or they just kind of fill in the gaps. It's almost like the characters from the holodeck on Star Trek, where it's like they have this almost perception filter going on. And as the Doctor and Jamie and Zoe start to figure out what's going on, then they kind of eventually have to work their way up through all of this to find who's running this. And he's calling himself the Warlord. And that guy turns out to be one of the Time Lords, one of the Doctor's own people. And so by the end here,
we have not seen one of the Doctor's own people since all the way back since the Time Meddler.
Yeah, the meddling monk way back in the first Doctor's run.
Yeah. So really,
second time we see the Doctor's own people, and we see the Time Lords themselves. They show up, and they're like, "Okay, let's clean up this mess, and we're going to put this Warlord on trial. And by the way, we're going to put the Doctor on trial too, because you realize you not only stole a TARDIS and you're roaming the galaxy, but you are breaking our laws on non-interference. We don't interfere, and you're going around." You're messing stuff up everywhere.
And what I love is the way the actors play it, because we really don't know what the Doctor's history is, but the Time Lords that sentence him and take away his companions and banish him, the smugness to them, the smile that they give when they're sentencing him and punishing him, it's like there's a history we don't know about. Well, now we do, but back then, just that little bit of acting is going to set up so much headcanon for me personally down the road.
Well, yeah. So they sentence him as well. And his sentence is that they're going to force him to regenerate, and then they're going to exile him on Earth in the 20th century. Because he likes the planet, and not because the BBC found that it was so much cheaper to film modern day Earth instead of going out to alien planets. That totally had nothing to do with it, I'm sure. But the worst thing is Jamie and Zoe, where they decide to erase their memories of the Doctor and their travels with him and send them back to where they first started.
But they
undoing all of their character development, undoing everything, that all of their growth
but the Time Lords don't tell them. And so when they say to the Doctor, "Don't worry, Doctor, we'll remember you," and he smiles, and then he looks at the Time Lord and goes, "They won't, will they?" And he goes, "Nope." And the way he plays the pain.
And as you mentioned earlier, I mean, this mirrors what the fate of Donna Noble later in the 10th Doctor's run, and where she also has to have her memory erased, and we see this reset, and it is just so heartbreaking and tragic.
And this comes up to say actually the second Doctor later on in the 5 Doctor story, because the Matrix is throwing things at him, and it throws Jamie and Zoe trying to lie to him and basically go down the corridor of death. And he's like, "Wait, no, you don't remember me. I'm not." Yeah,
because your memories were erased. And that brings us neatly to the season 6B theory. Now, this was brought up, I believe it was the authors of the Discontinuity Guide who first came up with this as they were looking at some of these little plot points like that, because they're like, well, wait a minute. Zoe and Jamie had their memories erased just before the second Doctor regenerated. So how does the second Doctor know that if he was plucked out of time before that happened? So the obvious answer is that he was plucked out of time after that happened. And then now, Patrick Troughton enjoyed being in the Five Doctors so much, is why he agreed to come back later on during the Sixth Doctor's run for the Two Doctors. And at that point, he's traveling around with Jamie, who not only knows about the Time Lords, but they say they're both working for the Time Lords. When did that happen in their run? Because this was the first time Jamie would have ever learned about the Time Lords during the War Doctors, just before he had his memory erased. So that leads to this idea. It's like, well, wait a minute. Maybe he didn't regenerate right then. We didn't see the regeneration. So maybe there's this extra set of adventures where he and Jamie are working for the Time Lords before Jamie gets sent back to the Highlands and the Doctor gets exiled to Earth.
And this has been seen in comic form.
I think even Big Finish was going to tackle this at one point.
Well, I was gonna say, oh, here we are. Coming back to Big Finish, we're gonna end where we began, because I just listened to this last year. And I should have come more prepared, audience. I'm very sorry. I'll put I will drop the trailer right here.
From Big Finish Productions, Doctor Who, The Second Doctor Adventures, Beyond War Games.
You have been content merely to observe the evil in the galaxy. I have been fighting against it.
Jamie, sorry, don't forget me.
I just got trapped here, like you.
Hello? Oh!
Who are you?
Oh, what a big gun you've got. I see. You mean I'll cease to exist?
As you are now.
Are you or are you not the Doctor that I met during the Yeti business?
Is this your ship? Well, no, I suppose not.
This planet was slap bang in the middle of our warp conduit.
Curious.
You're telling me.
I'm not James Bond, you know.
Where is your communication device?
Can you hear me all right?
Loud and clear, Doctor.
We complete the attack run. Bombard the surface.
Is this your new, companion?
I'm no one's companion, thank you very much.
The TARDIS is, temperamental like that. And at the moment, I'm, well, not exactly a free agent. Are you receiving Great Dane 1?
Greyhound, Doctor.
Oh, I do beg your pardon.
Big Finish, for the love of stories.
But as you heard, it is Big Finish is doing the 6B storyline, where it is set after this, where it decided, okay, you're going to regenerate, but not just yet. We're going to put you on some jobs. And they bring back an older Jamie, give him back his memories. And he's doing division work, basically, for the Time Lords.
Which then ties in with what we see in the 13th Doctor's run, where they talk about the Doctor working for this Time Lord group called the Division. So
when we met the future Doctor, Justin, I so wanted that to be 6B. I wanted her to be between
Patrick Troughton and John Pertwee.
It's a Saturday, folks. I'm sorry. My brain is full.
That would actually make more sense than what they came up with.
Oh, we're gonna get there because I love her doctor. I love her performance. I really wanted her to be a classic doctor, but in a different way than we got. But I'll still take her doctor no matter what.
Absolutely. Yeah, the actress who portrayed the fugitive doctor,
Jo Martin,
is she does a fantastic job. She knocks it out of the park every time she's on screen. I have no question.
And she is, oh wow, this is Big Finish. I'd like a discount. She's also coming to Big Finish soon in the Fugitive Doctor series.
I will definitely have to check that one out.
I'm so looking forward to it. Justin, any thoughts?
Well, this is a thought-free zone. No, I absolutely love this season. I love Patrick Troughton as the Doctor. Like I say, I mean, if you're only up for one story, check out the War Games, but check out the whole season. I think it's one of the more complete ones of Patrick Troughton's run. We do get a lot, so you get to see him actually being the Doctor. You have a great TARDIS team with Zoe and Jamie. There's a wonderful dynamic there. This is all around a really good season, I think.
So out of the 3 seasons, which one of his was your favorite?
It's a tough call. Just because I haven't seen all of them in all of the seasons. So I've just seen a smattering of the episodes here and there. So I'm probably not the best one to gauge this. But like The Enemy of the World, I think is like one of the favorite stories, just because of how well Patrick Troughton gets to shine in that one.
Yeah.
And so it's a fantastic story. The War Games here, I think, is a really good story. I highly recommend that. We get a lot of the Cybermen stories here, and I love seeing the kind of evolution of them.
Yeah, because that's going to set up the Cybermen for the future, that it's okay that they evolve every single time we see them.
Yeah, so it's like I think that helps their storyline as well. So there's so much here in all 3 seasons. I think they're all good. I don't know which one would be my favorite out of all of them.
If you put a gun at me and asked, I would say the second is my favorite, the third is my second favorite, and the first is my third favorite. Say that 3 times fast.
There you go.
Next week, though, we begin. Oh, I'm so excited, Justin. I am so excited. This is the next era we're about to start is my comfort who. I can jump into a Third Doctor story anytime, anywhere, no matter what's going on, and it's like a Snuggie to me. I'm just like, good.
Yeah, we get to John Pertwee as the Third Doctor. We get to color episodes. We get Unit, and a lot of Unit stories.
Liz Shaw.
Yeah, we start getting some of the classic companions that I know of so well, because again, this was like the earliest stuff that came to the Americas way back in the day. We didn't get the first and second Doctor serials,
and it's that early 70s that's still groovy and not like ugly 70s. So we're gonna see some great clothes.
We get a Doctor that's a little bit more James Bondy.
Oh, we get the inspiration for Austin Powers.
Yeah.
we get
the Who-mobile coming up here.
I love Bessie. We get the Masters coming up. This is what, as much as I love the black and white years, and they are one of my, I would say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 favorite eras of the show so far. We're ending one of my 5 favorite eras and jumping into another, and I'm really excited. I love the Unit years.
Yeah, so we're definitely going to be talking about that a lot next week or next time, and yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that, because now we're getting into the eras where I've definitely seen like every episode of everything.
I know, Justin, you've been great. You have been a true fan, and you sound like an expert to me. So
I do what I can. It's called research.
And see, I only do my notes like in the morning before we do this, but it's like I try to keep them simple, so I try not to go back and watch or read. It's like, what does Jason think about this, this, and this? And then I again go, these shows are like 50-something years old. What have I done with my life?
You've enjoyed it by watching Doctor Who.
I've enjoyed it. Ken, take me away.
The Grand Circle Tour podcast is brought to you in part by Expedition Roasters. When you visit expeditionroasters.com, use the promo code Grand Circle Tour Podcast, that's all one word, and you will receive 10% off of your purchase. If you would like to keep the adventure going after the show, be sure to visit our Facebook page, Disney Friends of the Grand Circle Tour Podcast. While you're on Facebook, like our page, Grand Circle Tour Podcast. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, Grand Circle Tour Podcast, on Instagram at GCT Podcast, and our YouTube channel, Grand Circle Tour. On TikTok, Grand Circle Tour. That's all one word. If you'd like to email us, drop us a line, gctpodcast@gmail.com. T-shirts and other fun merch can be found at tpublic.com. Simply search Grand Circle Tour Podcast. If you enjoyed your visit, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Only one rule, make it good. All logos, sounds, music, and songs that are made by and for Disney and its affiliates are owned in full by the Disney Corporation, and they are not, nor are they intended to be owned in any way by the Grand Circle Tour Podcast. Thank you for riding with us, and welcome home.
Doctor, you're being childish.
Well, of course I am. There's no point in being grown up if you can't be childish sometimes.